Most welcome back to the next game of on our journey through my games in the Olympiad for visually impaired in Vrnjacka, Banja in Serbia, June 2025. And I think we now are at round 5. And I am playing, Sweden is then playing Serbia. Serbia had 2 teams, Serbia 1 and Serbia 2. Now we're playing Serbia 1, and they are the reigning European team champions since their victory in 2023. And I play black against the strong player, Pavle Dimic, and I think his rating was 2351, if I'm not mistaken. Serbia obviously was favorite in this match. Sweden had an okay team, but we are not on the level so that we could be one of those who are in the discussions beforehand about winning any of the medals. But even if you are the underdog, even if Serbia was the favorite, they had to play for it, so to say. And although I thought that we should have problems in the match, especially on the last boards, board 4 especially, it was there we faltered a lot during the tournaments. At the end, only in the 9th round, getting 2.5. No, let's see. I think 2.5 points. Okay, be it against okay opposition, but we were not that lower rated. But that was a board that we had problems on, and they were higher rated on board 1 against me. My rating at that time was 2216, I think. On board 2 we were higher rated, not much, but a little bit. And on board 3 we were a bit lower rated, I think. So playing black on board 1, being lower rated, almost 150 points. I had draw. I considered should be a good result, but it is very difficult for me to play for a draw. I just have to play my game, and sometimes it works, sometimes not. But for sure, I didn't need to go for big complications or taking big risks. But then it comes to the player's style we have to consider here also. And Dimic is a very positional player. And I often, although I don't think of now I should play risky chess or something, I often end up in pretty complicated positions. So if I would get into a game with a lot of things to calculate, I wouldn't consider this as a drawback, at least. All right, here we go. White plays pawn to delta 4. Pawn to delta 4. And I played the Dutch defense. Pawn to foxtrot 5. Pawn to foxtrot 5. And I have played, as you might have noticed, if you go through some of the other games on this channel, I sometimes play the Dutch I haven't only played the Dutch, but pretty often anyway. But I also sometimes play Foxtrot 4 as white. So this is something I have played over the years. I started playing it in the mid-1980s even. I wouldn't say I know all theory, far from that, but I have experience of at least handling how to handle some positions. But we will see that chess is very complicated, so even after having played the line 40 years, there is still a lot to learn. So, white went for knight to foxtrot 3, knight to foxtrot 3. I played knight to foxtrot 6, knight to foxtrot 6. White plays pawn to golf 3, pawn to golf 3. In the last round of the Olympiad, I played black against a Lithuanian player. I have to check the name. I don't remember it right now, but yeah, we will get the name when we come to round 9. And he played an early pawn to Charlie 4. When white plays early pawn to Charlie 4, then it gives black some additional possibilities. In that game, I played pawn to Echo 6 and continue with bishop to Bravo 4. That is not good to do when the pawn is still on Charlie 2, obviously. So pawn to golf 3 is a practical decision for white. It robs black of some of his other possibilities. So I played pawn to golf 6, pawn to golf 6. This is the so-called Leningrad variation of the Dutch defense. And nowadays I think that is considered the best of black's Dutch defenses, so to say, because there are many ways of playing it as black. Black can go for the stone wall, putting up the pawns on Echo 6, Delta 5 and Charlie 6, usually following up with bishop to Delta 6. This has come a bit out of fashion after AlphaZero showed some interesting ways for white to play against the stone wall in 2017, 2018. So the stone wall has become a rare guest at the top level. We can also think of the classical variation. Black then, instead of golf 6 here, plays Echo 6 still, but continues with pawn to Delta 6, bishop Echo 7, castles kingside. This is a very risky way of playing for black. I will not go into depth because this is not an opening series, but I have played all the different versions of the Dutch. Yeah, but this time we had pawn to golf 6, pawn to golf 6. White went bishop to golf 2, bishop to golf 2. And I played bishop to golf 7, bishop to golf 7. White castles kingside, castles kingside. And black also castles kingside, castles kingside. Yeah, we can take some more moves before discussing different possibilities. White went pawn to Charlie 4, pawn to Charlie 4. and black played pawn to delta 6. Pawn to delta 6. And this is very interesting position. Here white can go for an early pawn to bravo 4. That can also be played earlier with the pawn on Charlie 2. White can also go for bravo 3, bishop bravo 2, or the move that was played in the game that is the most common. White played knight to Charlie 3. Knight to Charlie 3. In this position, black mainly has 3 moves, I would say. Yeah, maybe 2. Yeah, we can. The most common is what I played in the game, that is pawn to Charlie 6. But it is also possible for black to play queen to echo 8. This was more popular maybe 20 years ago, and now this line is under pressure. I don't go into the details of why. I think white normally should play rook to echo 1, because pushing echo 4 and opening the half open, making the e file half open, can put black into problems. So after rook echo to echo 1, black usually plays queen to foxtrot 7, attacking the pawn on Charlie 4. But practice has shown that sacrificing that pawn on Charlie 4 is not at all a bad option for white. I have played pawn to echo 6 in some games, and with good results, I would say. It is a pretty positional move, because it makes it possible for black to respond to a push like delta 5. If white plays pawn to delta 5 in the future, respond to with echo 5. And white cannot play delta takes echo 6 en passant, because black's pawn has already was on echo 6 instead of echo 7. At the same time, it takes a move, another pawn move, so it is under a cloud, this line as well. I have also, back in the days, played knight to Charlie 6, which was considered clearly playable in the early 1980s, but now white has found different ways of causing black problems. So I went for pawn to Charlie 6. Pawn to Charlie 6. Yeah, and this is considered the best move. It has stood the test over decades. The pawn blunts the bishop on Golf 2. That is a very important thing. And it is a flexible move. It can give the knight on Bravo 8 the possibility of going to Alpha 6 and then to Charlie 7, for example. Black can also prepare the pawn push to Echo 5 by playing Queen to Charlie 7. Playing Echo 5 is a very common theme. That is something that Black really wants to do in a lot of Dutch lines. It's only in the Stonewall Dutch that this is not one of the main topics. But here, if Black can push Echo 5, we would get kind of King's Indian position, but with the pawn already on Foxtrot 5. So there we see the advantage of playing the Dutch. in the King's Indian, you often want to get the pawns on Echo 5 and Foxtrot 5, but as the knight then already stands on Foxtrot 6, blocking the pawn on Foxtrot 7, you have to move the knight before you are able to play Foxtrot 5. So one can say that playing the Leningrad Dutch is a way to try to bluff white and to get a King's Indian with maybe 2 tempi up. Maybe bluff is a bad word, but that is an idea. But having the pawn on Foxtrot 5 already also gives black weaknesses. The Echo 6 is a weak square, and black's king's position is also weak, and we will see that this can really be a problem. Alright, white now played pawn to Bravo 4. Pawn to Bravo 4. And this is one of many options for white. Rook to Echo 1, Queen to Charlie 2, Queen to Bravo 3, and Pawn to Bravo 3 instead of Bravo 4, and Rook to Bravo 1 are some of white's options. There are many possibilities. Pawn to Bravo 4 is a positional move. White wants to push Bravo 5 and in this way put more pressure on the long diagonal so that the bishop on Golf 2 will get even more, the bishop would be even more meaningfully placed. At the same time, moving the Bravo pawn for white causes weaknesses on the long diagonal from Alpha 1 to Hotel 8, and that is something that black tries to punish. So I played pawn to Echo 5, pawn to Echo 5, and this is the common way of meeting Bravo 3 and Bravo 4. You can see that if white takes on Echo 5 and black recaptures, then if white then grabs the pawn with the knight, white will suffer from the weaknesses on the long diagonal, and black normally can regain the pawn, maybe with interest. However, white nevertheless played Delta takes Echo 5, Delta takes Echo 5. And I recaptured Delta takes Echo 5, Delta takes Echo 5. And now white has different options, of course. Knight takes Echo 5 is not such a good idea, that I already pointed out. But white's Bravo 4 is in a way an idea to force black to open the position a bit before black is enough developed. And white plays pawn to Echo 4, pawn to Echo 4. And we can see that the position now can be opened in different ways. And then black can get into problems, because although white and black are mainly developed on the king side, it is white who can use an opening of the position best, because it is more difficult. As long as I could not play pawn Echo 5 to Echo 4, it is white who can instead use the bishop on Golf 2 actively. So yeah, if black had been able to play two moves. So instead of white playing Echo4, then if black was on move, black had played pawn to Echo4 himself, and then the long dark diagonal from Alpha 1 to Hotel 8 would be opened. Now white can sometimes take on Foxtrot 5 and play Bravo 5. Of course, you have to time these things precisely. And then the bishop on Golf 2, the pawn on Bravo 5, would exert pressure on Charlie 6. Here I didn't remember the theory well, which is a shame on me, but I can explain it by that I have played different sorts of Dutch, and I often had tried to escape from the main lines. Like I played, this is one of the main setups for both white and black in the Leningrad Dutch. But as I told earlier, I often have played pawn to Echo 6 instead of pawn to Charlie 6 on move 7. So I have, but yeah, I hadn't really studied these main and the soundest lines as much as I should have. So it seems like here black should take on Delta 1, exchange queens, and follow up with pawn to Foxtrot 4. Following up with pawn to Foxtrot 4 is a common and interesting way for black. Yeah, but I have to think of maybe, yeah, the ideas often are playing bishop to Golf 4 and then try to maneuver a knight to Delta 4. It can come from Alpha to using the route knight from Bravo 8 to Alpha 6, Charlie 7, Echo 6, exchanging the bishop on Golf 4 for the knight on Foxtrot 3, and then plonking the knight on Delta 4. That is the dream black is dreaming of, obviously. So, but I played queen to Echo 7. Queen to Echo 7. But this is not really a good move, I would say. Something that I learned after analyzing the game. The main drawback with it is that white, after having pushed pawn to Bravo 5, then can play queen to Bravo 3 and bishop to Alpha 3, for example. And then it is just a drawback to have the queen on Echo 7. Why did I then play queen to Echo 7? Yeah, besides I wasn't well enough prepared, that is the most important explanation. I then thought I rather liked to keep the queens on the board in order to play for complications, because my opponent is a positional player and I have quite good results with kingside attacks in the Leningrad, and we will come back to some interesting themes that occurred in the game. But queen to Echo 7, actually according to Stockfish 17, is a blunder. White is actually considered to be more than one pawn up, according to Stockfish. So white played queen to Bravo 3. Queen to Bravo 3. Yeah, queen to Bravo 3 is a good move, but not the best. Pawn to Bravo 5 is actually slightly better and would give white 1.4 pawns up according to Stockfish. I had thought about Bravo 5. I mean, it's natural to consider that move because Queen to Echo 7 threatens the pawn on Bravo 4. But I was planning to play Foxtrot 4 and Bishop to Golf 4. And after complications, it anyway seems like white is clearly on top. After Bravo 5, if black plays pawn to Foxtrot 4, white continues with Queen to Bravo 3, and it can then follow up with Bishop to Alpha 3. I thought that I would get quite okay play for if Bishop comes to Alpha 3, I could maybe give up the exchange, but yeah, this was simply based on too bad calculations. At least it seems like that when you compare your own calculations to the one of Stockfish. Starting with Bravo 5 instead of Queen to Bravo 3 has another merit. It is that white then controls the Alpha 6 square, so that black cannot so easily play knight to Alpha 6. So Queen to Bravo 3 nevertheless gives white a clear edge about the pawn up, but the position is still very complicated, I would say. But what I have to learn from this game, what I should learn, and what I should have learned already before playing the game, is to understand that the opening of the position is problematic for black, and that Queen to Echo 7 plays into white's hand, as white anyway is planning to play Bravo 5, thus make it possible to play Bishop Alpha 3 with force. So this is something I should learn, but it also shows how complicated a game of chess often is. White is not a grandmaster or something, but a strong player, at 2350. And I am not a fantastic player, but not a too bad player at all either. So how that we didn't understand those things during the game shows that it is not trivial. So this is one of the things that you should take with you when you from this game, if you are interested in playing games, playing the Leningrad Dutch yourself or meeting the Leningrad Dutch. That's right. So I played knight to Alpha 6. Knight to Alpha 6. So now I developed a piece and threatens the pawn on Bravo 4. So for black it is urgent to bring the pieces into play. Knight to Alpha 6 seems good, but white actually should have a clear advantage had he continued with Bishop to Alpha 3 here as well. But still, it was not very clear to me, not at all, during the game, and it's only with the help of the very strong chess engines and a powerful computer that I have to accept that it is like that. Because after Bishop to Alpha 3, black could play pawn to Charlie 5, white pushes pawn to Bravo 5, and I can follow up with knight to Bravo 4. And it is not at all clear at first sight that white is so much better. But yeah, black has got a lot of weaknesses. The knight on Bravo 4, okay, it can drop in on Delta 3, but it is placed on a vulnerable position, or it can even get a bit offside. Even standing on Bravo 3, if it can't continue to like Delta 3 or so, it might even end up lacking squares, and white can retreat with the bishop to Bravo 2. Let's say white plays rook alpha Delta 1, bishop Bravo 2, and pawn to Alpha 3. And the knight might even get lost. It is a bad signal, I would say, when black has to play Charlie 6 and then Charlie 5, and then play knight Alpha 6 and to Bravo 4. I spend a little bit too many moves with the same pawns and pieces that were already developed. That should indicate that this can be a risky way for black to play. But if we should look at it from another perspective, it is not so easy for white to understand this either. When you look at the position, as white, you could start thinking of that black is soon able to push Foxtrot 4, bishop to Golf 4, and go for the king side attack. So this position has many nuances. All right, white took a long think here and played rook to Bravo 1. Rook to Bravo 1 instead of bishop to Alpha 3. Not a bad move either, but as I told, bishop to Alpha 3 was better. White now sticks to a more positional way of playing, like maybe continuing with pawn to Alpha 4 and pawn to Bravo 5, or pawn to Alpha 4, bishop to Alpha 3, and then pawn to Bravo 5, for example. But it takes a move, and although the rook then is developed, it gets away from the long dark diagonal from Alpha 1 to Hotel 8. It is not such an active move, it is a defensive move. And this is good, as black is really in trouble if white plays very straightforward and very sharp, like I already discussed with pawn to Bravo 5 early and bishop to Alpha 3 early. I get a tempo and I try to use that time by activating my pieces. I played knight to Charlie 7. Knight to Charlie 7. And this is a move I must say I'm a bit proud of. The knight has, okay, moved twice, so I wouldn't maybe brag about it, because I also used the same pieces as I've already developed for yet more moves. But now give me a little bit of time and I am there. Foxtrot 4, bishop Golf 4, knight Echo 6, for example. So it gives me some more chances, and now it takes less, so to say, for white to help me into the game. So white played bishop to echo 3, bishop to echo 3. Bishop to echo 3. It took my opponent long think. I think white had now fought for about 45 minutes or 50 minutes, and I had fought for about the same. Bishop to echo 3 seems to be a very strong move. White threatens bishop to Charlie 5, winning the exchange. That is the first thing. But let's first think of what white should have played. It is again pawn to Bravo 5. But now pawn to Bravo 5 only would give white a slighter edge, like 0.35 pawns. And why is that? Yeah, black then should respond with pawn to Charlie 5, and now the knight that is on Charlie 7 helps black controlling Delta 5. And you know, if white would plonk a knight on Delta 5 and there would be an exchange on Delta 5, so white takes the pawn, this is just in general, then the remaining of black's knights could go to echo 8 and then blockade the pawn on Delta 5 by knight to Delta 6. Okay, of course you have to watch out so that you don't lose material or something. White sometimes can play pawn Delta 5 to Delta 6 check, for example. But yeah, it is an advantage to have the knight on Charlie 7. And black can also continue with Charlie 5 and Bravo 6, and then you have these options of pawn to Foxtrot 4 steal. Why then do I talk about pawn to Foxtrot 4 so often here? White can even win a pawn on Foxtrot 4 many occasions. It is so, and this is something you as a Dutch player should keep in mind carefully, that if you push a pawn to Foxtrot 4 and white responds with Golf takes Foxtrot 4, you can play knight to Hotel 5, and then you threaten to take on Foxtrot 4 and start a very powerful kingside attack. And this is something we will soon see. And I have played in classical games, sometimes at least, even when this pawn sacrifice with Foxtrot 4 is not correct. I have played it sometimes because it puts white under serious pressure, and although you are objectively not okay, it has, in my experience, proven to be difficult to play for white, and I have actually won some games playing like that. But bishop to echo 3. What should I do then? I fought for a while, but not so long, maybe 5-10 minutes, because I have experience with these very murky positions. And I played knight to echo 6, knight to echo 6. And this, I think, was a shock for my opponent. After the game, we discussed the game very briefly. It became a long game, and we just exchanged some words about it. And he called my knight to echo 6 for a brilliant move. Okay. First, it seems like it is an easy move to play. What do I at all discuss? The knight now protects against bishop to Charlie 5, so it seems very easy. And now I threaten pawn to Foxtrot 4 even more. But what white had thought about is that when the knight comes to Echo 6, then the pawn on Echo 5 is undefended. So it seems like I just drop a pawn. And we'll see how white continued. After a long think, white played Echo takes Foxtrot 5. Echo takes Foxtrot 5. And I played Golf takes Foxtrot 5. And here it gets clear that if white takes with knight takes Echo 5, then it looks like white has a fantastic knight on Echo 5, and black has isolated pawns on Hotel 7 and Foxtrot 5. The diagonal from Golf 2 has opened as white has played Echo takes Foxtrot 5. All seems good, but black has the move pawn to Foxtrot 4. Pawn to Foxtrot 4. And even if white, in many variations, comes out with a pawn up, black's compensation on the king side is very, very strong. So, yeah, we can think of knight takes Echo 5, black plays pawn to Foxtrot 4. Let's say that white takes with the Golf pawn, let's say. Golf takes Foxtrot 4, and black plays knight to Hotel 5. So the two knights and the rook on Foxtrot 8, they attack Foxtrot 4, so I will regain one of the 2 pawns that I have sacrificed, and black's attacking chances gives full compensation. Actually, Stockfish evaluates the position as equal play. So this is something that you either get by studying a lot or playing a lot over the years. So this Foxtrot 4 sacrifice, as I mentioned, I have played it in many different kind of setups for black, and it is very difficult for white to defend against it. And here white was a bit shocked, I would say, because now it looks like if white doesn't want to play knight takes Echo 5 and having to defend against black's attack, then what to do? Black has the option of continuing with Foxtrot 4, and knight to Golf 4, attacking the bishop on Echo 3 is also an option, and then continuing with pawn to Echo 4, opening the diagonal for the bishop on Golf 7, and then maybe retreating the knight from Golf 4 to Echo 5 are possibilities that have to be kept in mind. So after a long think, white played knight to Golf 5, knight to Golf 5. This move is a way for white to try to calm down the position. As I told in the introduction to the game, that Dimic is a very positionally strong player. So he wanted to get out of this chaos that now was on the board, and threatening now to take on Echo 6 and then play bishop to Charlie 5 anyway. I played knight takes Golf 5, knight takes Golf 5, and white played bishop takes Golf 5, bishop takes Golf 5. And yeah, here we can see that white has played knight from Foxtrot 3 to Golf 5, spending another move with the knight, and then another move again with the bishop from Echo 3 to Golf 5. So I'm catching up a little bit in development, and I played bishop to Echo 6, bishop to Echo 6. Yeah, how to evaluate this position? White should sooner or later push Bravo 5 and try to continue with the plans already started on by taking more space and putting pressure on Charlie 6. But the pressure on Charlie 6 will not be that tough for black to parry, because yeah, this is something you should know if you play the King's Indian or the Leningrad Dutch. In such positions, yeah, when you have played Echo 5 and pawn on Foxtrot 5, if you have the chance, you normally want to push pawn to Echo 4. And this opens the long diagonal for the bishop on Golf 7, but also it blunts the bishop on Golf 2. And then now with the bishop on Echo 6, black can start to cause problems for white by pressuring the pawn on Charlie 4. If black also gets out, if black also moves the queen from Echo 7 so that the knight is not pinned, the knight on Foxtrot 6, then black can also again use this maneuver, pawn to Echo 4, knight to Golf 4, and knight to Echo 5. And black's pieces are fantastic, whereas white lacks coordination. White played Rook Foxtrot to Echo 1, Rook Foxtrot to Echo 1. Yeah, this is not the best move, a normal move, but actually now black starts to get the upper hand. White should have pushed pawn to Bravo 5 to open the position on the queen side, can give white some counterplay so that it is not only black who will have all the fun. I pushed pawn to Echo 4, pawn to Echo 4. And here, white's best move to keep white at least to a large extent in the game would have been to play pawn to Golf 4. Pawn to Golf 4. That was nothing that I even considered during the game. It's an engine move, but also a logical one, because white takes weaknesses on the king side, but also weakens black's pawn on Echo 4. But instead, white played pawn to Foxtrot 3. Pawn to Foxtrot 3. And this was also the move I considered the most likely. Yeah, pawn to foxtrot 3 is a logical move. White tries to open for the bishop on golf 2, and tries to exchange pawns, so that even if black sooner or later might win a pawn, the material would be enough reduced to give white drawing chances. And unfortunately for me, that was also how the game developed. But still, I am clearly better. I played queen to foxtrot 7, queen to foxtrot 7, attacking Charlie 4. White played queen to Charlie 2, queen to Charlie 2, increasing the pressure on Echo 4. I played Echo takes foxtrot 3, Echo takes foxtrot 3, and white played bishop takes foxtrot 3, bishop takes foxtrot 3. And I played knight to golf 4, knight to golf 4. And here black is winning. Black is up about 1.5 to 2 pawns according to Stockfish. The pawn on Charlie 4 is attacked. The knight, as I mentioned many times already, could now come back to Echo 5 also, and taking part in the attack on Charlie 4, but also black has attacking possibilities on the king side. White played pawn to Charlie 5, pawn to Charlie 5. Pawn to Charlie 5, yeah, it saves the pawn, white's c pawn, but gives black many interesting chances. Here, Stockfish recommends that I should go on with pawn to foxtrot 4, and black has really good chances with moves like bishop to delta 4, for example. I think we were a bit down on time, low on time here, and I must say that I started to get a bit tired. So I instead just wanted to play a natural move and follow the rule to develop the last piece, which this time, I shouldn't have stuck to that rule right now in this game. But okay, I played rook alpha to echo 8, rook alpha to echo 8. White continued with rook bravo to delta 1, rook bravo to delta 1. I continued with knight to echo 5, knight to echo 5. So yeah, now we have it on the board, this fantastic bishop pair, dominating the board completely, I would say. And the knight on echo 5 is also fantastic. So now the rook on echo 8 also serves as kind of stabilizing black's position a bit, the position in the center. So here I thought I was clearly better. I didn't know how much. According to Stockfish, I am now up half a pawn approximately. So yeah, better, but it is not at all winning, but difficult to play for white. White play bishop echo 2, bishop echo 2, and Yeah, of course, white doesn't want black to swap the bishop on foxtrot 3 because it would leave white with many weak white squares. And going with the bishop to golf 2 instead of echo 2 also would give black the possibility of dominating other white squares like delta 3. Yeah, I continued with the bishop to Charlie 4, bishop to Charlie 4. And bishop to Charlie 4, the idea is to exchange those of white's pieces who defend white's weaknesses. For example, foxtrot 3. So black's bishop on echo 6 is really good, but getting rid of the white's white squared bishop is also something very attractive. So white played king to golf 2, king to golf 2. It would have been better for white, clearly better even, to play rook to foxtrot 1 here, because it's not really something natural to do, to use the king to defend foxtrot 3 and hotel 3. And I should have replied now with knight to golf 6, which would have given me an advantage of 3.5 pawns according to Stockfish. But that was, it's for a human, it is not easy to think of, now I should retreat my fantastic knight on echo 5 to golf 6. Although it opens the diagonal from golf 7, so then I would threaten to take on Charlie 3, and then the piece on echo 2 would hang, for instance. And black might also play pawn to foxtrot 4 at occasion. But instead I played bishop takes echo 2, bishop takes echo 2. And this is very logical, but also it wastes almost all black's advantage here. One can say neither me and nor my opponent played fantastic, but I would say it is a difficult position. I should go through the game many more times if I would at least have a basic understanding of how to understand when you should play such moves like knight to golf 6. At least for me, it is far from obvious. Especially when you maybe have 10 minutes left on the clock. The time control was 200 minutes for the entire game with 30 seconds increment from move 1. So, white played queen takes echo 2, queen takes echo 2, and the queen move is also a blunder. We are making blunders every move here, me and my opponent. White had to play knight takes echo 2 because now white's pieces really starts hanging. I played knight to golf 4, knight to golf 4, and knight to golf 4 is also a kind of semi-blunder. I should have played knight to golf 6 first, and when the queen moves from, then the queen goes to delta 3, I would say, or let's see. Now I must try to think. White must of course move the queen and protect the knight on Charlie 3. So white played queen to delta 3. And here black could have played knight to echo 5 again, and then played what I should have played instead of knight to golf 4. Let's say if white goes back to queen to e2, and then knight to golf 6 would be the move. And then it becomes clear that in the complications, black would soon take on Charlie 3. There would be an exchange there, and then black can grab a pawn on alpha 2. We get into this in the game also, this motif. So rook takes echo 1 followed, rook takes echo 1, and white played rook takes echo 1. And I continued with bishop takes Charlie 3, bishop takes Charlie 3. And yeah, you should, it feels a little bit odd maybe to swap on Charlie 3, losing your fantastic bishop. But yeah, you have to be concrete at times also and see what happens. Now it happens something to the pawn on alpha 2. So white recaptured, queen takes Charlie 3, queen takes Charlie 3, and I played queen takes alpha 2, check. Queen takes alpha 2. And as you probably note is that white can't just move the king, because then there is a pawn that would be hanging on hotel 2. So white has to go for the exchange of queens, queen to delta 2, queen to delta 2. And yeah, we exchange queens on delta 2, queen takes delta 2, check. And white recaptures, bishop takes delta 2, bishop takes delta 2. And here I play a big blunder. The game is very interesting and sometimes well played, but sometimes also with a lot of blunders. This is really sad to say. I played knight to foxtrot 6. Knight to foxtrot 6. I thought, maybe this was too nonchalant. I had not that bad time. I would think 5 minutes, a little bit more maybe. I don't remember. We were about the same on time. Knight to foxtrot 6. My idea was to play knight to echo 4 or knight to delta 5. And from delta 5 or echo 4, the knight would stop the white rook from penetrating. And I didn't think that white could play what white did, rook to echo 7, because I thought, would there be an exchange of rook? Black would win the following bishop against knight ending. I thought that a bishop on delta 2 was not such a good piece because of the pawns on bravo 4 and Charlie 5. But what I neglected or underestimated was that white is quicker to activate his king, and that actually gives white saving compensation. And now, unfortunately for me, the game goes towards a draw. The best move that was winning for black was king to foxtrot 7, so that white can't activate his king so quickly. And then after king to foxtrot 7, I could mobilize my pieces. So, but yeah, I blundered. I no excuses for it. It's simply the case. All right. Now white played rook to echo 7, rook to echo 7. And I played rook to echo 8, rook to echo 8. I still hadn't understood that white now is drawing. To my stupidity, I have to admit that I thought white had overlooked that it is impossible to take on Bravo 7 because then it comes rook to echo 2. But white simply exchanges. Rook takes echo 8. Rook takes echo 8, check. And I played knight takes echo 8. And here we can see that black's king and knight, they are too passive. So white can start attacking, for instance, the weak pawn on foxtrot 5. So it followed king to foxtrot 3, king to foxtrot 3, and I played king to foxtrot 7, king to foxtrot 7. And white played king to foxtrot 4, king to foxtrot 4. Black played king to echo 6, king to echo 6. And here we see that it is not only the pawn on foxtrot 5 that is a weakness, it's also the pawn on hotel 7. So white can come up with a king to golf 5, and then black has to deal with both king to hotel 6 and the pressure that already is manifest on foxtrot 5. White played king to golf 5, king to golf 5, and I played knight to foxtrot 6, knight to foxtrot 6. Yeah, I understood that this is a draw, but I will anyway test white a little bit. White played bishop to echo 1, bishop to echo 1. It was, I threatened knight to echo 4 check, of course. I played pawn to Bravo 6, pawn to Bravo 6. I wanted to create a pass pawn on the queen side. White took, Charlie takes Bravo 6, Charlie takes Bravo 6, and I recaptured Alpha takes Bravo 6, Alpha takes Bravo 6. White played pawn to hotel 3, pawn to hotel 3, and I played pawn to hotel 5, pawn to hotel 5. Yeah, you can discuss this or that move, but yeah, it is a draw. White played pawn to hotel 4, pawn to hotel 4. So now black has to deal with the threat of bishop to Charlie 3 at times, and then the pawn on hotel 5 might fall, and then white would have a pass pawn on the hotel 5. So I cannot be, I still have to keep awake not to lose the game. But yeah, white also has to deal with some threats. I played pawn to Charlie 5, pawn to Charlie 5. Bravo takes Charlie 5, Bravo takes Charlie 5, and I recaptured Bravo takes Charlie 5, Bravo takes Charlie 5. White played king to golf 6, king to golf 6, which is of course good also to get out of those tricks with eventually a bishop comes to Charlie 3 and black plays knight to echo 4 check, as long as the king would be on golf 5. I push pawn to Charlie 4, pawn to Charlie 4, and white plays king to golf 5, king to golf 5. And now I do this trick, pawn to Charlie 3, pawn to Charlie 3. But yeah, I can win a piece, but there are too few pawns after this. White played bishop takes Charlie 3, bishop takes Charlie 3, and I play knight to echo 4 check, knight to echo 4. White takes on hotel 5, king takes hotel 5, and I play knight takes Charlie 3, knight takes Charlie 3. So it looks good. I'm a piece up now, but yeah, I got only one pawn, so it's difficult or impossible to win against a strong opponent. White plays king to golf 6, king to golf 6. I play knight to echo 4, knight to echo 4. White plays pawn to hotel 5, pawn to hotel 5, and I have to keep an eye on that pawn, so I play knight to foxtrot 6, knight to foxtrot 6. I didn't have time simply to take on golf 3. White played knight to hotel 6, knight to hotel 6, and I play king to echo 5, king to echo 5. White plays pawn to hotel 7, pawn to hotel 7, and I take, knight takes hotel 7, knight takes hotel 7, and white takes, king takes hotel 7, king takes hotel 7. Black plays king to echo 4, king to echo 4. Black plays king to golf 6, king to golf 6. And I play king to foxtrot 3, king to foxtrot 3. And white takes on foxtrot 5, king takes foxtrot 5. And I take on golf 3, king takes golf 3. And obviously king against king is draw. So I went through the latter part of the game a bit quick, because this is a long video, but there were so many interesting thematic things in the middle game, so I wanted to spend a bit more time there. And one can ask oneself, why did I go through this game with so many blunders? But I must say that it was not at all easy to play this position, and these many interesting middle game positions, and but there were a lot to learn from this game. So that is why I wanted to show it, and also this was one of my games in the Olympiad. Anyway, I must say that I can't say that it was so bad for me. It was only a draw. I was lost in many positions, especially in the beginning of the game. After I had this knight to echo 6 in move 13, sacrificing with the idea to sacrifice my E and F pawns, then I was on top, and after a while I also even had the advantage, even a winning advantage at times. But so it is in chess on my level and even on my opponent's level, that when you go through with the engine a game that you thought you played pretty well, when you have analyzed it, you see that there were a lot of blunders. But nevertheless, I must be happy I was black. I played an opponent that was clearly higher rated, and the game was a lot of I had a lot of fun during the game, because these middle game positions are really fascinating. So I hope that you also enjoyed watching. Thank you.